If your marriage feels more like roommates than lovers, or if stress has built a wall between you, this podcast is for you.
We're Andrew and Lara, marriage coaches and happily married couple of nearly 20 years.
We're best friends, partners in adventure, and living proof that marriage can be both joyful and strong.
Every week we'll share real stories, practical tools, and one simple shift you can make to go from disconnection to intimacy, and from survival to thriving together.
Do you ever feel like your marriage is just drowning under the weight of life? I know that a lot of you will say, yes, I'm coming to you today in that spot.
Yes.
I like to refer to it as like roommates managing chaos every day, putting out fires every day, particularly between you, instead of feeling like a team and like partners. What we're talking about in this episode in marriage is the word overwhelm and what it means, what it looks like, what it feels like in your body. And it doesn't mean if you're in overwhelm, which many of us are, that your marriage is broken. It means that your nervous system is overloaded and your mind is overloaded. And we'll explain that more. And the key to knowing how to reconnect, we'll talk about a little bit, but knowing how to reconnect before the distance grows is a part of a healthy marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can seem, well, it's overwhelming, isn't it? But it can seem hard to manage. So this is some tools that we can give to you. So thank you for being here, because you're obviously doing a really great thing towards helping your marriage, building your marriage.
Just as an aside, every time Andrew makes me a flat white, he puts a little love heart in the foam. In the top, so I just had a little laugh to myself as we start this overwhelm.
Touch of I love you.
That's right. Well, I want to start with saying that we, yes, have a healthy marriage, but that doesn't mean that we haven't overcome a lot of issues. And it doesn't mean, but what we have done and why we started this is that we developed and allowed ourselves to develop a strong marriage and the toolkit to do that as we went from the start, rather than have to fix our marriage. So a lot of the things we're talking about are tried and tested and the things we do. And I've said it before, but it's peeling back the curtain and saying, this is how to build a strong marriage. And a lot of it we didn't make up. We've researched, we've studied, we've gone through counseling, we've gone through coaching, and where I'm a ICF, which means International Coaching Federation's professional certified life coach, and Andrew
I'm
is
a physical therapist, and I specialize, and I really love that connection of mind, body, and heart, and dealing with people with chronic pain. But as a physio or physical therapist, you talk to people a lot
about pain.
Wonderful. About their problem, and we keep focused on getting them better. But you do just talk. You've got at least a 30-minute session with someone. And so it's wonderful just to talk on things in their life, and you pick up things. And so plenty of people added to their pain, stress, problem are clearly going through some overwhelm. They're going through marriage issues, lots of different lives of issues. And the way it all integrates is what I love. And what I love to explore. Yeah,
he's got a real passion for the body, mind, and heart connection. The body is keeping score. Stress, we feel it in our body. We feel it in our nervous system. And guys, we are in the overwhelm season of life. As we speak to you, we have 2 children that are entirely dependent on us. One is in middle school, one's about to go into middle school. And we have to-do lists galore, jobs, kids that need to be ABC. Sometimes the weeks are so full and overwhelming that we become like ships passing in the night. It's completely normal. And we in that aren't even fighting, and I know a lot of you are, so I recognize that, but you can easily in that place stop connecting, and we can have this too, where we stop connecting. So whether you're fighting and not connecting, whether you're in the danger of starting to see that you're disconnecting, and I call it the little foxes that are in the vineyard starting to eat away at what could be a beautiful garden. Whatever stage you're in, these tools are here to support you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just share a little about what's happening in our bodies. And it's good to initially think about and to approach this with what's happening in my body right now. So in recent weeks even, of the overwhelm, the feeling like I can never catch up with enough sleep, or I'm just running and running and running and running and running. I would feel tension. I'd feel maybe neck and shoulders of like, oh, I'm sitting at the table and I'm noticing that I'm a bit rounded, and I'm like, what? Why am I there? I'll feel in my chest and I'll feel this rising tightness, something in there. And we know that psychologists in somatic therapy know that as overwhelm, as anxiety, but there's this rising tension of stress, and you're getting the controller locked in because we are not comfortable in that feeling. It's an overwhelm, and it's an out of control feeling. For you, it might be different. It might be headaches.
I get really restless sleep. Like, it majorly affects my sleep. And sometimes I feel like I can't even get a full breath. And stress, it's funny because you deal with tension for a living in the body. And tension, my son was studying volcanoes or something this week, and the definition of tension was stress, and it was to do with, I don't remember, I'm not going to go into the science because goodness, his work's already so challenging. But stress and tension were connected, and I thought, isn't that interesting that the two things are the stress in our life, the stress causes tension, and your job is to release that tension.
Well, our body manifests it. So when we know there's tension in muscles, or there's just tension around an area of our body, so it's good to just check in to feel what's happening in me. I mentioned headaches, so it could be persistent pain in your elbow, but it's worse than normal. That sort of thing.
Yeah. And the research is that 80% of our pain in our body is actually emotional, which doesn't, your pain is real, but so much of what's going on in our body is really keeping score. And our mind and our emotions carry this overwhelm in our marriages, in our families. It looks like irritability, a short fuse, a sense of distance between you. Different people cope in different ways. Like for me, I busy myself. For somebody I'm really close to, they silence themselves. They shut down and they talk to nobody, let alone their spouse. So when you realize what's going on and that overwhelm is what you're in, and it's so sneaky, it can quietly steal your intimacy. Unless you catch it and you reset it. So if it's already stolen, if you're coming to us in crisis mode and it's already stolen the intimacy between you, start to recognize what's going on. That so much of it is overwhelmed because of life, because you can start to reset that. And resetting is lots of little things. It's rarely one big moment.
Be kind to yourself too. I think the overwhelm we have, there are a lot of pressures on us as humans in this world. So there's lots of pressures on just practical, kids at school, time pressures, all those things. The need for often double incomes, I'm just going to say it, the need for trying to get a second income or a third income or whatever else to manage.
Just to cope.
The rising, housing prices. I'm not going to complete all the things. Political issues, lots of different things, things happen against.
And we noticed this in America, like the marriages can be stressed here already. And then on top of that, if there's something political going on, people feel that incredibly deeply. And that's a cultural observation that I've noticed living here, that there's a high, it happens everywhere, like honestly, but there is right now in the States where we live a really heightened place of stress in that. And that can affect your marriage. You can be carrying stuff because of what's going on in the world just around you.
Maybe stopping to think, gosh, I'm feeling stressed and tense and I'm feeling overwhelmed from a number of things, not just maybe how we're relating or just the pressure of the kids or whatever else. We are human beings that are affected by these things around us, by the community around us.
And the science supports that, particularly in coaching, because when we look at somebody, like a responsible trained coach will go, I'm going to look at all of the areas of your life and how the ecology fits. So it's like, okay, I'm feeling this in my marriage, but then we look at your health, we look at your finances, we look at some of the other things. I call it the life pie, that 360-degree view. And if you've got 6 things that are under stress and you're coming to me about marriage, I'm kind of going, oh, there's a bigger picture here, there's a ripple effect. And it's important that we look at how one thing is affecting everybody else. So I want to look a little bit into the coaching side of this for you guys, because when overwhelm happens, it's like too many demands flooding your brain's nervous system. And you get this, I call it, this is just the picture that I want to give you of what's going on in your head, is this dark swirling cloud. And in that cloud, there's bills, there's marriage, there's kids, there's maybe the trauma you went through as a child. There's lots and lots of things swirling in this cloud, and you feel this lack of clarity, and you feel this anxiety, and it's called overwhelm. And the ability to actually be able to pull down each of those pieces from that dark cloud and start to address them is how you get out of overwhelm. But the prefrontal cortex in your brain, and I'm not a doctor, but I do know this, this is the area of logic and empathy. It goes offline when you are going through too much stress, because you go into survival mode, and that makes it much harder to listen and to connect with your spouse. And that is incredible. So there's a massive impact on your marriage, and couples misinterpret stress signals all the time. Yeah. So one might withdraw and say, leave me alone. And you're like, what did I do? Well, you may have done something, and they may even think it was you that caused it, but it's something else. There's a bigger overwhelm in their life, where the other person might be pursuing and saying, why aren't you present with me? Why aren't you spending time with me? And you've got this opposition, and you're thinking, what's going on? And then there's all the attachment of how we grew up and how we were parented. And in overwhelm, we can default to protective behaviors that are just our defaults that we learned as a child. It's like shut down. I'm going to go to my room and I'm not going to talk to you. And some people do this for days, and you might be married to a shutdown person. Some people are the opposite. They go into ultra hyper control. Yeah. They want to control everything and everyone around them. Yeah.
I know what I do. Can I call that out? I help. I do things to serve.
Which is fixing it, right? In a way?
No. It's helping myself. So I can get praise.
That's very insightful of you.
Well, I've done some work, girl. But I will get praise, and I'll be like, thank you, you've helped so much. Oh, look, this is the thing. But then I'm usually met with no praise because the issue is still there. And then I'm like, I've just done all this stuff. And then nothing.
Hasn't fixed
Crickets,
it. And, it's funny because we see in our children, and it's interesting because that pattern can continue, but one of our children goes into major criticism, but it's deflecting criticism. It's like criticizing everyone around. And you might be married to someone who has that pattern from childhood and does it, and they're lashing out, and they're just mean sometimes, and it's got nothing to do with anyone. We all do it. I have had a background of trying to control everything around me, but the mess in the house is often me wanting to feel in control of my life and clean it up and have some order, which isn't a bad thing. I think order's good,
I'm proud of you.
But I've done the work on the control and the busying myself to achieve in order to feel worthy.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, just stop wherever you are. Obviously, if you're driving, be careful. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about my spouse right now? What's the story in my head? It might be that they don't care, or that I'm alone, or often overwhelm is the culprit actually, and not a lack of love. So many times I have felt overwhelmed, and Andrew has done one thing, like leave a bit of mess in the kitchen. And I first want to criticize and go, he didn't ABC. But what I've taught myself to do is go, but what did he do? And I've rewired my brain. What has he done? And there will be 10 things that he has done. And instantly that diffuses my tunnel vision on the one thing that he didn't do. So ask yourself, what's the story that you're telling yourself about your spouse right now? Because if you both do that, you'll be surprised with what comes up.
I've noticed the work you've done yourself with that, and I can feel it atmosphere changer for sure.
Yes.
And,
thanks, babe, for noticing that. That's really sweet of you.
I just was like, I feel that. Because the escalation from my side is like, oh, wow. So that's cool. Yeah.
It's funny. I'm looking at him like, you're going to get laid tonight. Andrew's looking at me.
So from a body, mind, and heart lens. So if we talk and think about our body and go through this check-in process, right? So if we focus on our body, so we might just set ourselves up to just check in. And so we might scan our body to feel the tension that we might be carrying, or just where are we feeling the fatigue in our body.
Yeah, and the stress and the tightness in our chest and things.
But just try and even locate it. You're not going to fix it but straight away, but checking in with it can just locate it and just go, oh, I feel tightness here, or like I feel just like this tension in my gut, or like I'm really like tensing some muscles in my body maybe. My breathing might be shallow. We call that apical breathing or a high chest breathing rather than the lateral costal lower breathing that we should be having in our belly expanding with our breath in. These are all physical signs of stress. You might feel the heart rate pulsing really fast. You might feel a degree of just pulsing in your throat or whatever else. That are again signs of the sympathetic nervous system in a threat state, So they're good. It's good to start to check in because it just de-escalates you. And if you can just shift your breathing or even just swaying a little bit,
like rocking.
This is something we've seen a lot of in Georgia, rocking chairs on the verandas outside people's houses. But it's so calming.
It's very calming. And I think it's really, really healthy for you. But the real thing, like the bigger picture here of what we're sharing is like being able to say, I'm in overwhelm and I need to be able to self-soothe in a healthy, holistic way. Unhealthy self-soothing, and I'm not saying it's bad to come home, have a glass of wine or a beer, whatever, but what's happening if you're constantly numbing and not facing at the expense of your marriage is that escalates and it builds until one day you look at each other and think, I don't know you anymore.
And for guys, we often want to just plug it with some solution, or it's too hard to navigate all this. So
I'm too tired to work this out. It's exhausting trying to work out what you're feeling sometimes.
So we're taking you through a tool that is very simple and that you can start the process. And I know you just want to put a solution on it. But the thing I've held on to is that it's just too hard. How can I fix all this? How can I face the pain and discomfort, this old wound that I know that I have from my past? But can I say this very clearly, you are able to hold that and you are able to face it and it will not overwhelm you. You are able to.
And you need to, because that is actually part of growing up and getting out of boy stage is to own up, and both of you to be able to say, I need to own my dysfunction and heal now. Like to be married is to the two become one, and everything that was in your two, like before, that's all going to affect that one. Yeah. It's really important.
So more on that. But if we shift now, I'm just calming the body a little to my mind. I might just notice that my mind is just racing thoughts. Might just be I have difficulty processing or focusing on something, or that my daughter comes up with something and I'm just like, I cannot take anything else in right now.
I'm at capacity.
I'm done. I'm out. That's sort of feeling.
And all of that makes what
empathy.
It's way harder to actually care about other people.
Honestly care. Like I can give it words, but really in my heart I'm like, I just need a moment. And so we want to avoid the idea of like, I need a drink, because that might have just calmed your nervous system in itself or whatever. Nothing wrong with having a drink now and again. But we're saying that this is an easy way just to have an easy, quick framework to do it a lot more naturally.
And on that, I actually have a story because we've walked through divorce, not our own divorce, obviously. We're married 20 years, actually together 22 plus. But we've walked through divorce and marriage breakdown or marriage challenges with a lot of people. And I remember one child coming over and saying to my kids like, and they were just about to go through divorce, his mum and dad. And he said, my dad just comes home and eats chips and watches TV, or they call them crisps here, like potato chips. And within itself, you should be allowed to wind down and you should be able to switch off and all of that. But the pattern every day was that's all my dad's doing right now. And I instantly go, that is an overwhelm.
Yeah.
That is a coping strategy. He is now disconnecting. He is, instead of checking in, he's now checking out of his children's life. He's checking out of his marriage.
Yeah.
And so that checking out resulted in, and they are divorced now. But you've got to be able to manage what you're feeling in a way that supports the family unit and supports the marriage unit.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
empathy is important to those around you. No matter how tired you are, checking in is actually going to help your overwhelm and stress more than checking out, right?
Totally.
What about the heart? What happens in the heart when we're going
So we can just drop a little deeper to that, but that can just have this emotional depletion. We might just check in with our heart, that's our feeling, that's our, our soul and our deeper parts of ourselves, right? So if we're just depleted, or I'm like very disappointed or unappreciated, or something deep that's hit me that I'm holding about that. Again, it's not fixing it, but that would make me less patient. That would make me
absolutely
less wanting to help,
less generous with the family around you.
There you go.
And just not a nice person to be with sometimes. That can cause that.
Yeah. If that's in itself hitting like a wound, or that in itself is uncomfortable and it's pain emotionally.
Yeah.
You'd know more about that, but that there's a pain there. So I'm going to react to that. I'll either be angry, or I'll be flit out with stress, or I'll maybe switch off. That's the nervous system's effect, either fight or freeze. Right?
Faint, fawn, freeze. Yeah.
All these.
There's a lot of different Fs.
They're easy to research and look up those things of the nervous system's effect and response.
And what am I doing?
That is the response.
Yeah.
I see it in patients. We respond to pain that way, to physical pain that way.
That's true.
And then the stress of that, then the stress compounds from having chronic pain that you don't have any hope that's going to get better. And that is an emotional pain and baggage, and will react in the nervous system. That just wires it out to get often worse, but it go through a journey. So I'm really passionate about bringing balance to that and giving solutions and giving space so that we can realize these things on that journey of healing.
Yeah, because when you calm your body and you notice and say, what's coming up for me in my body, and that's the beginning of our BMH, a 3-minute marriage reset, which you can get at andrewandlara.com. Just grab that free download. It's a quick 3-minute BMH, body, mind, heart check-in that you can do daily with your spouse. But when you calm the body, you reopen access to your mind, you reopen access to your heart, and reconnection can start actually in your nervous system.
Yeah, you can realize things that you didn't know were there.
Yeah.
So it could be like, I've got this beef with you. And it could well just be that. But there could be something a lot better, more deep, and more effective to deal with. Through this process.
Yeah. And we recognize that what we're saying takes courage and it takes bravery. But this is called growing up.
Yeah, but it's super quick, guys.
Yeah,
it is. We do this and it's really awesome.
Yeah. I want to give them some quick tools. Grab that free tool that we already talked about. But another thing, and it is, I just lent into it, but the micro pause, we're talking 1 minute. This is how our BMX, a 3-minute body, mind, heart shift starts. It's just 60 seconds before you start talking and fighting. It's recognizing we're both in overwhelm. Whether it's just physical, mental, it's everything, whatever it is, sit next to each other and go, let's just for 60 seconds, we're talking 1 minute of your life, do some shared breathing or just breathing, don't have to breathe at the same time, but calm yourself down before continuing your conversation. Make sure that your heart rate is calming down, that you're clearing the mind and things, because I often do things like put a hand on my heart, do some deep breathing, and I say to myself, kind things like you're enough and you're loved, and something that helps me out of my crisis overwhelmed state. And I think as much as you can name it, what you're feeling, even if it's like overarching things, because overwhelm is made up of a lot of things, but if you can say, I'm just feeling overwhelmed to your spouse, or I'm overwhelmed, but I don't want this distance between us, is very validating, because it's saying I'm struggling right now, and your spouse might say I'm overwhelmed too, but I don't want this disconnection between us. You've already started to re-bridge rather than continue to pull apart.
Yeah. And I think it's not an admission of I'm failing or I'm not coping. This is life. This is life, and we should have someone close to us that we can say,
yes,
yeah, I'm overwhelmed with all these things, and I'm feeling that a lot right now. And yeah, I want us to connect about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel overwhelmed all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel really joyous and just overjoyed and just in total, not control, but I feel buzzing and just, in great energy and all those things. But we need to name it when we are in that space,
Yeah.
And you're not a failure, I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We should be able to feel all these things, and that's normal.
It's normal. It's normal. Yeah. But the more that you disconnect and think, oh, it's not masculine, or I'm not that kind of person, or like I don't do feelings. Well, by saying that, you're actually going to disintegrate your marriage.
That's it.
Because you need to be able to be a team, and you need to be able to connect to have a happy marriage. Yep. So you need to start to grow and say, okay, well, there's some growth for me needed here, rather than that's what I call a fixed mindset rather than a growth mindset. And the last thing I want to say on this little tool that you can take away is, again, it's a coaching technique, but sometimes it might be something like it's called an anchor. An anchor can be anything. It could be like, when I come home from now on, I'm going to light a candle. I lit a candle today, and that's going to remind me that I need to breathe in that fragrance if it's scented. So that's just one example. It might be that when my husband comes home, I grab his hand, I squeeze it, and it's the reminder physically that, hey, we need to take a minute to just connect.
Yeah.
Basically a signal that reminds you that right now there's a safety that we need to go into, and that physical anchor is that as a trigger that can get you there faster than words. So you might not have the words every day, but it can be a physical thing, like I said with the candle. It could be holding a hand. It's something that you go, when we do this, that's our reminder that we'll connect even if we don't have the words right now. So overwhelm isn't a verdict on your marriage. It's a signal that your rhythms need resetting. That's all it is. Connection can return in small, intentional moments.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We created this 3-minute body, mind, heart shift, this 3-minute marriage reset for these overwhelmed moments.
Yeah. And there's so many.
Daily connect, so many of them.
There's so many.
And like we said, you just grab that, andrewandlara.com. It's easy.
Yeah, really easy. I want to encourage you to try it together. And also, if you're still listening and this has been a support to you, leave us a 5-star review. Yeah. 5-star reviews are very, very helpful on whatever platform you're on. Spotify doesn't allow you to unless you've listened. So you've listened, so you'll be able to do it. It takes 1 minute. You just scroll to the bottom of our page, and you can quickly do it there. Same on Apple or whatever platform, and share this episode with your spouse, or share it with a friend who might be going through overwhelm and just needs some tools to allow themselves to come out of overwhelm and back into connection. So subscribe if you're on YouTube right now. Subscribe if you're on our audio podcast.
You never know how it can, impact someone, or how it can speak to them.
We're on a mission to help marriages, because helping marriages is helping our entire community, and it's so important.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Marriage, Intimacy and Healing. Remember, connection isn't about perfection. It's about showing up.
If you want a quick way to feel closer tonight, grab our free resource, The 3-Minute Marriage Reset, at andrewandlara.com. We'll see you next week. And until then, keep choosing each other every single day.